Hey everybody, got another base tour video for you today. This time it's from the Diamond Deck. That's another server on Avomance's Avoverse that is exclusive to Diamond level patrons. That particular server is reset once every 3 months, and members get to use the time in between to show off what they can build. It's not really a competition per se because we don't really win anything, but at the same time it kinda is. We get to challenge ourselves and show off what we can do. And this season, I decided to remodel an ocean monument. So let's go take a look. So when we first started out on the Diamond Deck server, we started at this little spawn platform here. Just kind of cute, nothing elaborate, just a launching point. From here, we had to go select a build site. Now that's a little bit easier here because as Diamond patrons, we get a few extra perks over vanilla Minecraft like Creative Fly and Vein Miner. Secondly, we're able to purchase some packages of commonly used materials. So we didn't really have to start out finding diamonds and coal and other basic stuff. And lastly, the seed for this world is provided to the members, so we can actually use online resources like Mine Atlas or Chunkbase to find the biomes and the structures that we want to use. So we don't have to spend tons of time just wandering around, and that really helps a lot. It's really meant to be as close to creative mode as possible without actually being in creative. Still, even though we get some extra perks, it's not really true creative mode. We're still in survival, and in order to get a lot of the build materials, we still have to do some basic farms. So my first goal after locating an ocean monument was to find a place nearby where I could set up camp. So let's head over there. So here we are. The actual monument is over there to the west, way off in the distance, but I found this beach with a large island in the middle. You can see it over there, which I thought would make a really good spot for some farms. Since the monument was the main build and we only get 3 months, I really wasn't into making a big house in addition to all of that, so in true Hobbit fashion, I just dug a hole in the hill. In a hole in the ground, there lived a warlock. Sorry, geek joke. So let's go inside. I didn't really do much in here. I just set up some basic storage, placed my bed down, and then did some strip mining down below so that I could get some materials to set up my farms. The resources that I purchased didn't really have much in the way of building materials, so what I really needed was the basics: stone, cobblestone, maybe some obsidian so I could set up another portal, some lava because that's always handy. Didn't really need diamonds, redstone, or coal, but a little extra can't help, can it? So I made sure that I got that, and then of course once I got myself established here, I set up my farms. Those, of course, are across the bay. So let's fly over that way. Okay, now I should mention that this world is in 1.15 too, because 1.16 hadn't really dropped yet, so AFK farming was still a thing. So that was one of the first things that I set up, along with the farms themselves. And some basic crops, because I really wanted to go claim a village so I could go get some staple enchantments when I needed them. Let's walk inside here and take a look. Nothing major here, just a basic AFK farming setup. I also went ahead and set up some chicken farms and a cow cooker. basically because I needed some beef and leather. Now, I know that these are all decorated right now, but they really weren't at the beginning. The decorations and the nice pathing were added last after I'd finished the main build, because that's really what I was in here for, right? Now, I'd show you the village, but that's really just a naturally generated Minecraft village. All I did was add a few extra buildings and beds and feed the villagers till they made some baby villagers. Then, of course, I set up their trades to what I wanted them to be. And then, of course, just, I called it a day. Well, actually, 3 days, because villager farming isn't, or villager wrangling isn't really as easy as it sounds, but hey, there's not really all that much to show there. Now, let's go up here, over, yes, it's over this direction. There is a turtle farm. I figured that I would be spending a lot of time underwater, and I thought that a turtle helmets would come in handy. But as it turns out, it really wasn't that big a deal, because well, most of the enchantments that I needed were already on the regular stuff, and it was really all about building. So honestly, the turtle shell helmets didn't do all that much for me, but I still got to build my first turtle farm, so there's that, right? Let's go ahead and head over to the portal. Actually, before I go into the portal, I want to show you the path a little bit. We'll just kind of walk up to that. I kind of like this path. I haven't traditionally spent a whole lot of time creating nice pathing through Minecraft worlds, although I'm getting a little bit better at that. I see Avo doing an awful lot of that, and honestly, I do kind of like the look of it. It just kind of steps the whole thing up, doesn't it? So anyway, let's go ahead and go through the portal and head over to the actual farm. Okay, so here we are in my little mini nether hub. Since this was really all about building, I decided to do a more well-finished nether tunnel. One of the things that I really love about Avotopia, at least for Season 1, is the beautiful player-created nether hubs. The players who were there before me put a lot of effort into those builds. And while I haven't really done anything nearly as fancy here, I just really didn't want to leave it plain. So I made the passage between my two areas a little nicer than just bare portals sitting in the nether. I tried to make them reflect really what they stood for. So the one for the main monument here uses a lot of prismarine, while the other one, you can't really see it here very well, but the other one uses the same stone that I used in the farms. At the end of the day, though, this is really just transportation from point A to point B, so I didn't want to get super fancy. I just didn't want to leave it plain. Now, as we step out of the nether portal, you can kind of see the ocean monument, or as I like to call it, the palace, over there off in the distance. Let's swim up to the top and have a closer look. Okay. This whole area looks so much better at night. It looks great during the day, but so much better at night, because it's easier to not only see the palace itself, but also the whole surrounding area. If you look closely, you may be able to see down there at the bottom that I extended the monument downward and added some windows all around the bottom. This is really so that I could create a set of large staterooms underneath. I mean, it is a palace after all, isn't it? I also added 2 towers with spires to the back of the monument with a connecting bridge in between. These actually disguise the tanks for a working Guardian farm. That was fun. Had to rebuild the whole thing 3 times. The first time was just to start getting some prismarine because I knew I'd need a lot, and after that it was just trying to work it into the build. If you look around the area here, you can see that I've got a number of domes. Each one of the domes has a mini biome in it, almost like a museum. I like to think of it as the opposite of an aquarium for the residents of Atlantis. Bring a little bit of the land down under the ocean. I got that idea from Tylee Cross, so thank you very much, Tylee. In the front of the tower here, you can see this. There is a submarine that's modeled after the ones that you see in the Disney movie Atlantis. Now, I'd love to claim that design for my own, but I actually got the design from a Green video about how to disguise conduits. I actually used 3 of the designs that I saw in that video, not actually for conduits, but just for some decoration around the build. The video wasn't a tutorial, so I approximated as best I could. I think I got it pretty good. The statues in the courtyard that you see down here, as well as the treasure chest that you see back there in the distance, is, well, there are other ideas that I borrowed from that video. So let's head back down into the viewing tunnel. Okay, let's walk up through here. You can see the courtyard here on the side with the coral gardens. As we walk up to the main entrance of the palace, you can start to see the archways. You can see they're really tall there. Now the standard ocean monument does have archways at the entrance, but they're actually much shorter. I extended them upwards. This is another idea that I got from a different Green video where he remodeled an ocean monument, go figure. I liked his general idea, but I didn't really want to stick with just what he did. So I also wanted to work in the Guardian farm to this monument. So the rest of this is all me. This is my design. Now, as you walk into the Great Hall, you are greeted with braziers off to both sides. And of course, you see the grand staircase leading to the 2nd floor of the palace. Around the room, you can see that we have some guards. And of course, all of those guards are dressed in gold armor because why not? It's a palace, isn't it? Opulence is the word of the day. Each of them is standing under a banner with the official New Atlantis insignia on it. Actually, part of the reason that I did that is because this build has so much prismarine in it. I just needed to find a way to get some other colors into it that work with the build. There's only so much cyan, aquamarine, and turquoise that you can stand, at least so much I can stand. So I needed some contrast. That's why the banners and the gold armor, also why you see the sandstone flooring here. I just needed something to break up all that prismarine. Now, there are a few rooms on this 1st floor. So as we go to the left here, we go through a wide hallway. The drop for one of the Guardian tanks is off to the right here. Occasionally you can see some dropping down, not so much right now. Oh, there's goes one. The main conference room, though, is off to the left towards the front of the palace. So you can see here there's a large table for all of the heads of state to meet. And of course on the wall behind the king's seat is a map of New Atlantis and the surrounding area. Complete with points of interest on the map. If we look at it closely, let's fly up here a second. So you can see here I've got the, oops, went in there pretty fast. Farming outpost there. New Atlantis itself. Down here, of course, we've got Davy Jones' locker, if you can see that. Up here at the top, we've got a coral reef, because, of course, you're going to have a coral reef in all of this. You can see in this room, just like in the main hall, there are guards posted all around the room, because, you know, of course, all those heads of state have to be protected. And that's about it for this room. Let's head over to, there is a corresponding room on the left side of the palace, also facing towards the front. This area here is basically the guest library and the reading area. It's a nice, albeit smaller table, and of course, I also have the terracotta worked into the flooring again for some color and some contrast. Some lamps in the corner because you can't really read in the dark, can you? Of course, some bookshelves over there on the side. Come back over here to the great room. Now, back in the great room and heading up the stairs, we can see some plants and lighting here suspended from the skylight. I'm not sure exactly what you call this. I want to call it a pergola or a trellis. I'm sure there's a better word for it. Any pergola or trellis that I can think of is actually on the ground, but whatever the word is, it escapes me for the moment. For the lighting, of course, you can see that I used some beacons with obviously with some hoppers and end rods underneath those. Now, I actually just bought those out of the resource kits. There were actually some beacons in that. I had too much to do to worry about gathering wither skulls and defeating the wither, so I just bought them. Oops, don't want to do that. As we head up the stairs here, to the top of the stairs, we run right into the guardian tanks. Let's fly up here for a second to take a good look. There we go. We can see a guardian falling down there. The design that I finally settled on here just uses some simple gravity and downward water flows to drop guardians into some water channels I have in the bottom here for collection. I saw a video by Waddles with a similar design, and I figured that I could incorporate that into this build without too much trouble. I love the windows in the tanks. I think that they just look really cool here. Now, on the back of the tanks, this wasn't in the Waddles design, but I added some, what I would call some fairly complicated redstone that drives a 4x4 piston door. Thankfully, there's some tutorials on that because I couldn't remember how to do that. I love redstone, but some things like this are just kind of complicated. And what the piston doors do is they open and close. They open and close the tank. So when they're closed, they actually hold the guardians in the tank so they don't drop into the kill chamber. It's not really the best on-off switch that you could have, but it works. It slows things down for downstairs and just keeps the guardians swimming around in the water. Now, also on this second floor, as you can see here to the side, we have a set of waterless coral gardens. Now, my original thought was to turn these into aquariums, but of course, if you put water in the aquariums inside the temple, you're going to also get guardians, and that's not really what I was going for. So what I did instead is I just used some waterlogged sandstone slabs, and that allowed me to place the coral in there without it dying, and still add some much needed color to the place, because again, prismarine everywhere. Now, also on each side, you can see here there's a small table, there's a small garden, and of course a table slash, lounge area over here. People can kind of rest and look out the window and enjoy the view. But for a better view of that, we actually want to go outside to the viewing domes. On each side of the temple, we have viewing domes like this where you can walk out, have a look in the surrounding area, see all this stuff. You can some mini coral gardens over here. You can even go outside if you want to dodge the guardians. For an even better view than this, though, we can actually head upstairs to the top. Now, if we come back through here, you will see there is a staircase leading to the top of the temple, which is just below the surface of the water. Got a little bit of seating in here with some paintings. Just wanted to make it look a little bit more comfortable. This one's kind of plain, though. But up here at the top, You can actually look out here, get a nice view of the surrounding area. I think it's better than what you get down in the domes. You can see the towers. You can see the domes out there off in the distance. Certainly the one up there on the hill. You can kind of see Davy Jones' locker over there a little bit. We'll take a closer look at that later. Over here on the side, of course, you can get a nice view of the submarine, which I think looks pretty cool. Now, one of the coolest things about that submarine, and this is one of my favorite things actually, is that there's a hatch on the bottom, so you can actually go inside it. Now I'm going to do that now, but of course before I do that, I'm going to drink an invisibility potion because we're not actually in creative mode and I don't want to die. So I'm standing outside of the temple wearing nothing but my helmet, literally, because somehow if you wear your armor, the guardians will still be able to see you, but for whatever reason, they can't see the helmet. I don't know if that's because they're not very bright, or maybe it's just because they only have one eye. But we'll forgive them. They do protect our palace after all. So let's go over here and head into the submarine. We got the little, oops. Got the little trap door here on the bottom. Let's see if I can make my way in here. I've only got 8 minutes, so I got to make this count. Okay, so you can see here we've got some very comfy seating. The interior here is pretty spacious. We've got a control stick here in the front. Can almost see myself driving this thing around the city. You can actually see the surrounding area pretty well too. The domes, the statues, the coral gardens down there. You can kind of make those out. If you look closely, you can also see Davy Jones' locker over there in the distance. Not much else to see in here, but you can see there's a lot of room. I'm actually surprised at how much room is in here, but it's really just this one room. So let's head over to the towers next, so we can take a look at what we have in there. So now I'm back up in the left tower after that nice swim and fully clothed, which is nice. I thought I would give you a look around the towers that we have here. Now, of course, I had the same problem in these towers that I had with color everywhere else. So much prismarine. So I decided, again, to use some glazed terracotta to create a pattern on the floor. I think it really brings some life into this room. The plants, of course, in the corners help as well, as do kind of the acacia wood on top of the sea lanterns. Just gives something other than the prismarine to look at. If we head up the stairs here, we'll see that I've got an enchanting library. Now, naturally, we've got a few enchanting tables scattered about and some seating for reading because, it's a library, people read. We've got an anvil over here with some lapis for all of your enchanting needs. On the third floor, you'll see that we've got some overflow seating here. It also is a nice place for people to rest after they've come up 2 flights of stairs. If we go out onto the bridge, we can have a nice look around. Again, this place is so impressive at night. I just love the way this looks. You can see all of the surrounding area. Tried to get the domes and the shipwrecks and things like that lit up so you can have a nice view of them. Again, pretty impressive during the day, but even better at night. We come over here into this tower. We can see that it's mostly a mirror of the first one. We've got another reading or seating area up here with some flowers around. Oops, probably come down the steps. When we come down the steps, you'll see, though, what's different about this is instead of an enchanting area, we actually have a potions area. There's plenty of brewing stations for the aspiring potion student. The barrels in the center kind of frame out an infinite water source for filling up water bottles. The barrels actually contain plenty of nether wart for all of your potions needs. And of course, we've got some water bottles to fill up as well. Look around here, we've got plenty of ingredients for any kind of potion that you want to create. And of course, what's a potions area without a crafting table? So we've got one of those over here as well. When we go down the stairs, we can see that the bottom floor matches the one in the left tower. It's just reversed. I mean, the floor's the same. It's just where the seating and the stairs are reversed. Now, let's take a quick spin around the domes just so you can see what they look like. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here or go into too much detail. They're really just mini versions of the biomes that we have. You can find those all over Minecraft. So we're just going to go into this one. Here is a desert temple, or my version of a desert temple. Just some cactus and or cacti scattered around the area. Let's go clockwise here, I guess. Over here, little conduit there on the bottom. We've got a jungle area, some bamboo in various stages of growth. We've got some jungle trees and vines, got a few parrots in here flying around, cocoa beans back there in the back. This is kind of fun. So I created a little path, not that you necessarily need a path underwater, but having something that kind of leads up to this dome is very nice. Now, this particular dome is not actually a biome dome. This one is kind of an Atlantean temple. It's actually an access area, because if you come down here, you'll see that there's a little cave system in here. And I just wanted to give a kind of an official entrance to it. Lots of gold in here. So you can see where we got a bunch of the gold for the armor. And of course, Tylee was actually pretty helpful in that too, because while I was busy running around, she went out and made a gift of some gold from a mesa area, which was very nice. I appreciated that very much. Saved me a little bit of time gathering. Here you can see, there we have the nether portal. Going past some of these statues. I love these statues. It's not hard to make out what they are either. You can tell they're mermaids. This dome over here is not a biome per se. It's more like a garden. Of course, it would be samplings from the plains biome, but we have a separate dome for that. So you get a nice little garden over here. Here, of course, is the plains biome one. We have a path, a little bit of a pond. Got some cows and some pigs and chickens, even a bee flying around. So kind of gives you a nice little example of what it would look like in the above. So like I said, kind of like a museum or a zoo, however you want to look at it, for the people of New Atlantis. We've got a shipwreck over there. You've seen shipwrecks before, so we're not really going to go check that out. I did want to show... Let's come over here to Davy Jones' locker. It's just a treasure chest. Again, this came from the green video that I had been talking about. Oops. Again, the purpose of this was to hide a conduit. There's actually prismarine in here. So if you were to put a conduit in here, you'd get a small range. It's not enough to actually do a full range conduit, which is the reason I didn't use it for that. But it's enough to actually give conduit power to a lot of the surrounding area. There's another shipwreck back here. So nice little underwater habitat. I do want to head back inside because I had mentioned that this is a working guardian farm. So I thought it would be a really good idea just to kind of show, basically take a look at the Guardian Farm collection area, so you can kind of see how that works. You saw the tanks at the top, and you saw the drop zones. They're actually coming straight through the temple down to this area. They collect in the middle. They drop through some lava. And the combination of the damage from the lava and the fall, and of course flame damage when they hit the bottom, is what actually kills them. Now, because of that lava, you actually lose some of the guardians in this process. So it's not 100% efficient, but it doesn't need to be. Early on, I collected a lot of prismarine. If you look over here, actually not here, that's just the finished product. If you look over here, you will see that we have tons of prismarine shards. As a farm goes, it's been pretty much overproductive, but for most of the life of this, the water was not actually in the farm above, so we didn't have all the extra guardians swimming around. That made a difference. It produced quite a bit of prismarine, and also cooked fish, cooked cod. I have tons of that around. I actually just cleared these bins out, so you're not seeing so much. But it way overproduces the cooked cod, and I never need to worry about food because I got plenty of that. I couldn't possibly use all of the cooked cod that I have. This storage area, of course, is well, what I didn't tell you is that in order to make this area realize my vision, I had to basically level a mountain. The whole area that is the courtyard out front was a mountain, and within that was a ravine. So the mountain had to be leveled and the ravine had to be filled in, and that actually took quite a bit of the time that I spent on this. But it was a lot of fun. Oh, over here I also have a working slime farm. As it turns out, this whole ocean monument was sitting right actually there were several slime chunks within the ocean monument itself, and I was constantly killing slimes. So I figured, what the heck, I would just throw an iron golem in there and a collection system, because I got tired of killing the slimes myself. And as you can see, it's pretty productive. Even with just that one layer and the slime spawning occasionally, it does a great job. I also have a whole chest full of it in here. So very productive slime farm. I should come back to this because this drop zone, I should mention that this also doubles as an XP farm. So if I click that button, it puts guardians in here. I actually shoot them with a bow and arrow so I don't get the thorns effect. Oops. Gotta maybe do this. It's a great way to get some XP and to repair my equipment. That's enough of that. So I think that's it for the area down here, and I would say that's pretty much about it for this tour. It really was a lot of fun to do. I wasn't really sure I was going to get it all done in the time that I had, but in some ways, that's part of the fun. I wanted to challenge myself, and man, did I ever challenge myself on this. I hope you enjoyed this little trip around my build. I know I did. Thanks for going through it with me. Bye for now.